Hola. Hola, Obito. Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday night. I hope everyone has had an amazing day. Tonight, we are going to be talking about 5 ways to deal with daddy issues. And of course, it's a little bit of a pun intended because it's Father's Day tomorrow, but it's a real thing. You know, it's a real thing that really affects us in our life. Yes, God. Yes, God. Can everyone hear me? I want to make sure that my sound is working fine. Hey, Kim. Hello. Hi. Okay, so I'm going to take that as a yes that everyone can hear me so far. I'm sure we'll have some more people kind of straggle in, but I'm going to go ahead and get started because it's kind of late and Mama needs to go night-night. Yes, God. Hey. Hey, Evolution of K. Hey, Dirty Jers. Hey, everybody. So, for those of you that do not know me or not familiar with me, my name is Megan, and I am the owner and CEO of Yes God Wellness, which is a holistic health company dedicated to womb and reproductive health. We also deal with the mind, body, and spirit connection. And I am also a spiritual transformation doula, and I help people move from breakdown to breakthrough. And I've been gifted with the ability to provide insight to people that are struggling with situations in their life that seem to be consuming their time and energy. And I also help to bridge the gap between desire and accomplishment. Because a lot of the times, pretty much most all the time, we are the ones getting in our way. Yes, God. And so I call these talks that I do and these conversations that I have with people spiritual drive-bys because they are relatively quick. It's not going to be about going to therapy for 2 and 3 years and rehashing old things on the couch and never really coming up with a solution or a way to move through and move past them. So I have that gift and I'm grateful for that gift. It has helped me and many other people to move into their purpose and what it is that they really are truly happy and feel fulfilled with in their lives. So in terms of the physical side of my business, I have helped women to release womb imbalances naturally, including but not limited to fibroids, cysts, painful and irregular cycles, menopausal symptoms, candida, BV, chronic yeast infections. We also help to manage diagnoses such as PCOS and endometriosis. And we have also helped several women conceive and become pregnant. And so we're very excited and happy about that. Just a few quick announcements and some housekeeping. Starting on June 26th, we're going to be doing a 10-day master cleanse extended fast. So if anyone is interested in that, please feel free to check out the link in my bio and go read around about the content and what we're going to be doing. It's going to be really amazing because we're going to be doing it as a community and being able to support one another. And it's just really a transformative thing, not just for your body, but for your mind. And your emotions as well, but your body changes drastically too, and you get an opportunity to identify your relationships with food. The next announcement is that on July 3rd, we are going to be having a sip and steam party here in Durham, North Carolina. And yes, God, that's going to be amazing. So that will also be up on the website to be able to register and purchase tickets for that. And then on July 19th, we are going to be having a sip and steam meditation workshop, which is also going to incorporate sound healing with a sound healing practitioner from upstate New York, my town, Rochester. It's going to be amazing. And so the workshop is going to be $188. It's currently $144, and I'm going to leave that price until the 18th, so 3 more days. If you plan or if you're interested in coming to that in DC, please go ahead and get your tickets as soon as possible before they go up, because it's well worth actually more than either of those prices, but I definitely want to make it as accessible as possible while also honoring the practitioners. And then we are currently running a promotion right now for Father's Day with the code masculine at checkout. You can get free shipping on anything on the site. And we also have been running a fertility promotion. So if you're interested in purchasing any of the products in our fertility collection, you can use the code FERTILE at checkout and be able to do that. And the fertility bundle that we have, the pick bundles, that promotion is 25% off for the bundles or anything in the fertility collection, and that's a really, really steep discount. I usually don't go that steep, so I would recommend taking advantage of that if it's something that you've been pondering or thinking about. Yes, God. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the 5 different ways to deal with daddy issues, okay? And I know that this is can be a bit of a sensitive topic because, you know, this is deep-rooted stuff. This is trauma that has really been with us probably for the majority of our lives. And so the deeper that we get with the trauma that we're looking at, the more sensitive it can be, and the more triggered we can feel. So I just want to say, going into this, that I am completely, this is a discussion. This is not just me talking at you. If you have questions, if you don't understand something, or even if you have an insight or even an opposing view, I'm fine with, you bringing that up. My goal and my intention during this talk is just to really provide some tools and some ways that you can begin to move past attracting people in your life that have similar dynamics to the issues, to the dynamics that you may have had with your father or mother. So I will just go ahead and be transparent in my own life. For me, I really was humbled and had to, I chose to come to the realization that my daddy issues were manifesting and playing themselves out in the fact that I was continuing to attract emotionally unavailable men. And not only was I attracting emotionally unavailable men, but I was entertaining and being in relationship with unavailable men. And my own personal story is that my father wasn't really that involved in my life. I'm not going to go into the who's, when's, and why's. Actually, it's something that my mother and my father actually have different perspectives on. He says that she kept him away. She says he never bothered. We never really know. Everybody acts according to the capacity that they have at the time, and people always make the best decision with the information that they have at the time. So I think that's important to note and understand that if we did have an absent father or parent, that 10 times out of 10, it probably was not malicious. It was just what they felt was the best decision at the time. Maybe they didn't feel that they had the capacity to love, or, perhaps if they were in the picture and there may have been an abusive dynamic happening there, that's unfortunately all that they had to offer, okay? Because people who are very abusive to others are actually very abused, and they have not taken or had the tools to take the time to deal with their own abuse. So they really don't have any other thing within them to be able to give. So it's important to, I think, really be intentional about finding a place of compassion with that, and ultimately finding a place of forgiveness. Now, I know that doesn't happen right away, but I think it's something that we should definitely strive for, and should be our goal. Okay. So the first things first, when we're talking about daddy issues, and this is kind of a step that I tend to talk about a lot because it's super, super important for any issue that you're dealing with or trying to work through, is allowing yourself to feel it. Allowing yourself to feel it, and if you need to cry, if you need to get angry, if you need to be upset, just allowing yourself to feel, to cry, to hurt, to be angry, to release it. And this is why steaming is such an amazing tool, because steaming, in a physical level, definitely is a vulnerable position to be in. But also from an emotional and a metaphysical standpoint, it's also a vulnerable position to be in, because we're actually opening up our root chakra, which is the chakra that holds on to trauma the most. The root and the sacral chakra is where we hold on to trauma, and we hold on to survival issues that really primarily stem from childhood. So just the act of steaming in and of itself really opens up that space for things to flow out. So I like to do emotional work while I'm steaming. I like to journal and do some of my own spiritual drive-bys on myself while I'm steaming. So allowing yourself to feel it, I know for me personally, I went through life a lot saying that, oh, I can't miss what I never had. Oh, it doesn't matter. I never, da 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 da, and kind of creating these coping mechanisms to hide the fact that, deep down, I had self-worth issues. I held self-confidence issues, because it's like, your relationship with your father really molds what you believe that your relationship should be like with men. And, as a child, you don't understand why someone's not showing up, or why, if they are showing up, they're behaving in a way that is not loving. So I think that allowing yourself to admit that to yourself, to really admit that, and not observe your reflexes, observe your natural responses when you start to think about it, observe your defensiveness and your kind of your narrative that you have around your father, if you do have daddy issues, which I'm imagining you do if you're watching this content, or if you're interested in, or it may not even be you, it may be someone you're close to. So that's step one, is to get clear. Step one is to feel and allow yourself to release and be vulnerable and honest with yourself about the way that these issues have affected you. And then the second step is to get clear with yourself on what the actual issues are. So again, like I recognized in myself, it was being drawn to people who were emotionally unavailable. And I'm not even going to necessarily just say men. Actually, it was pretty much mostly men. Most of my friendships, thank you God, have been pretty healthy. Most of the friendships that I formed in my childhood and in my adolescence are still on good standing and good terms with women. And I can say even with men, but honestly, when I look back and I take inventory of my relationships, there definitely was a pattern of emotional unavailability. Or maybe if they weren't unavailable, there was a certain stoicness about them. There was a, for me, the way that my abandonment issues with my father showed up were that I would have this association that I would have to earn this love, or I would have to prove it, or I would have to fight for it. And if I didn't have to do that, then it wasn't real love, And this is something that I'm realizing now, like in my late 30s. This is not something that I went through my 20s, like, oh, but it is that syndrome of, oh, he's too nice. Oh, he's too easy. Oh, he's trying to just court me and do all the, oh my God, he's such a nerd. It's like, wanting that bad boy, is really code for daddy issues, abandonment issues, wanting the guy that is not on the up and up, and it's attractive and it's exciting and it's all of these things, supposedly, but ultimately it's really a reflection of us inside, and it's really a reflection of the fact that we feel like the bad girl, and not in a good way. If we want a bad boy, it means that we feel like the bad girl, like we're not really worthy of, someone who is successful, someone who is, held in high regard in society, held in, someone who is, a prominent figure, or someone who really has a lot of integrity about themselves. Okay. So that is really mirroring and reflecting to us how we actually feel about ourselves. So get clear with your own personal way that your abandonment or your daddy issues show up for you, and how do they repeat themselves in patterns of relationships that you see in your life. And this takes some mindfulness. This may take some time. This may take some serious meditation and some serious contemplation. And again, all of this emotional work requires a level of humility. It requires a level of vulnerability, and it requires a level of honesty with ourselves. Okay. And being willing to admit things that we may have been trying to shove and push away for our whole lives. Okay. And so the third way that we can deal with daddy issues is, once we have gotten clear about these patterns and the way that we show up and the way that we behave in relation to the opposite sex, or the same sex, it doesn't really matter. I think that taking inventory of your current relationships and seeing how those issues are showing up, and if they're showing up in them, and really, really being willing to take an objective standpoint and say, okay, you know what, I'm in this relationship, but this guy is not emotionally available. This guy doesn't follow through. This guy doesn't show up when he says he is. I can't really depend on him. And being willing to use that standard of measure and say, okay, these are my issues. This is how it's manifested in my personality. These are the type of relationship dynamics that I seem to keep experiencing over and over and over. Okay, now that I'm clear about that, let me use this and take a look at every relationship that I'm currently in and see if these things are showing up right now. Because if they're showing up right now, one of the most powerful things that you can do in terms of energy is to say no, is to simply stop giving explanations and just decide that you're not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I am not going to continue to pursue people who leave me confused. I'm not going to continue to make myself available for people who are not clear with me about what their intentions for me are. I'm not going to continue to, pour my heart out to someone who is vague with me about their feelings. Hey, Comedic Eye Films. So looking at how these things manifest, and then using that as a standard of measure. That is the step number 4. And then being bold and brave enough to say no to things that don't make you feel good. There's a big difference between feeling good and being comfortable. Let me say that again. There is a big difference between really genuinely feeling joyous and good and blissful, and then just being comfortable. Okay? Because a lot of us are comfortable in pain. All right? And that's not where we want to be comfortable at. Okay? That's not joy. That's not happiness. That's not fulfillment. All right? So really taking inventory of that, and really getting clear about, what, am I happy, or am I just happy to be with anybody? That's a great question to ask myself. Am I happy right now, truly, or am I just happy to be with somebody? I'm happy that somebody was willing to be with little old me who's not really worthy. Okay? Because these are the subconscious things that are going on. And if we're willing to, high pain tolerance, exactly. If we're willing to look at these things, and we're willing to be honest with ourselves, we might be surprised. We'll be surprised at the situations and the dynamics that we're still entertaining. Even though it's like we know, but knowing and doing are two different things. My mother used to say that to me all the time. It used to get on my nerves. But it's true. It's true. And so being clear about, that's why it's so important to get clear with how your daddy issues show up within you. Because once you're clear with how they show up within you, now you're able to use that as a standard of measure for your relationships with other people. Yeah, a lot of people are get comfortable in pain, and it's, oh well, we're doing it for the kids. You're a fucking liar. You're not doing it for the kids. You're doing it for your own insecurity, because you're really harming your children by exposing them and showing them that this is what love looks like. Let's just be frank about that. Okay? I see, this is the thing about me, and this is my style. I'm very direct and I'm very blunt, and I'm not really with the bullshit, you know what I mean? And the reason why is because I'm not with my own bullshit. I will call my own self out on my own bullshit, and I will call other people out on their bullshit too. We're staying together because of the kids is code for we're in a toxic fucking relationship and we are too cowardly to leave it because we are codependent on one another. Because if you even have to say that you're together because of the kids, you're actually in that statement admitting and identifying exactly you're in fear. And you're admitting and identifying the fact that it's not a healthy relationship, which you're not doing it for the kids. You may think that you're doing for the kids, that may be, but ultimately you're harming your children. Period, point blank. You are harming your children. I heard a saying a few years ago that really, really resonated with me. It was like, I'd rather my children have 2 heavens than 1 hell. Let that sizzle in your spirit. Like, what's his name? I don't even remember his name. Country Wayne. So that's step number 4, being bold and being brave enough to say fucking no, I don't want to do this. This is not working. I'm not happy. My children deserve to see me happy. My children deserve to feel me happy. Because the thing is, like, we think we're having this great facade. It's like, oh, we're together till we're 18, and as soon as the kid's gone, we're getting divorced. Like as if they didn't know that you were fucking miserable for the whole 18 years. Are you kidding me right now? Like, really? We really think we're hiding something? You're not hiding anything. You're not. Children are very in tune with energy. It doesn't matter how fake you pretend and how whatever you do. Children can feel the tension. Okay? Not even just people. People can feel the tension. Even if you're in a toxic relationship right now, you feel it. You know that. You know this is not the relationship for you. And this is my thing. This is my approach with people. Like, I love helping people, and I love, giving people insight and really helping people navigate. But at the end of the day, we got to fucking man and woman up. We got to stop this bullshit of, and all this fear. I don't resonate with fear. So if I hear people start to come to me with fear, I immediately cut it off at the pass. And why? Is because I am love, and I want to give you love, and love is truth. Love is not pacifying you and making you feel good because, because I don't want to hurt your feelings, or I don't want to offend you. I don't give a shit if I offend you. If I can change and save your fucking life, I'm going to offend the shit out of you. Okay? I have no issues doing that. I'm a whole Sagittarius. So that's step number 4. And then the 5th step is we have to really begin to truly invest in our self-care practice, okay? Because the relationship that we have with ourselves sets the tone for the relationship that we have with others, okay? Do you listen to your own intuition? Are you available for your own self? Do you abandon your own feelings? Okay? If you can't even get that together within your own internal self, how do you ever expect to attract a partner that's going to do those things? If you blow yourself off and you put yourself last, you think you're going to attract a partner that puts you first? Life don't work like that, boo-boo. That's not how the universe works. The universe does not work like that. The universe is simply a mirror. That's it. It's a mirror. Anybody that is in your life is showing you what your spirit looks like. That's what they're doing. They're showing you from an emotional standpoint, from an energetic level, they're showing you what your spirit looks like. So if you're with someone who is cruel, if you're with someone who doesn't listen, if you're with someone who's not dependable, if you're with someone who is not trustworthy, that means you are cruel to yourself. You don't trust yourself. You're not you can't depend on yourself. Okay? These are what these things mean. So self-care is so important to really begin to cultivate that relationship with yourself and start to listen to yourself and start to be there for yourself and start to follow through when you say you're going to do something. And you know what? I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do that. Because every time you don't follow through on that, you're planting more seeds of mistrust within yourself. And the more subconscious seeds of mistrust are planted within you, the more you're going to be attracting non-trustworthy people. Okay? So those are the 5 steps, those are the 5 ways that you can begin to deal with daddy issues. If you are interested in, really going deep with this and going deeper with this, again, I do offer spiritual drive-bys where we get really deep and we actually come up with like an action plan for you of things that you can actually do like today, right now, to begin to move through this. Okay. And it's really, really helpful, and sometimes investing in your self-care practice is getting spiritual coaching. Sometimes, and even if it's not me, I'm not for everybody. I don't resonate with everybody. Sometimes, your self-care practice is getting a massage. Sometimes your self-care practice is getting your ass up and going to the gym or going outside and going for a run, doing those things that are going to honor you, even though they might not necessarily be comfortable. You know what I mean? Doing those things that are still going to really put your well-being at the forefront. Okay. And that doesn't always include comfort. All right. Again, a lot of us have grown comfortable in pain, and life doesn't have to be that way. It really, really doesn't. It really doesn't. If one thing is guaranteed in life is that it's always going to change, and we are going to be faced with conflict and circumstances that are out of our control and things that can also be devastating. Okay. These are things that are guaranteed in life. What's also guaranteed in life is that you have control over how you respond and react to these things and how much effect these things can have on your overall emotional state. Okay. And the best thing that you can do for anyone around you is to be the best example of your best advice and to be your highest self. You can't persuade people. You can't argue it. You can't drill it into them. You can't force people. That's bull. You can't do that. The only thing that you can do for people in your life is to be the example, saying less, doing more. So again, just to recap, 5 ways. The first way, allow yourself to feel, cry, hurt, be angry, steam, journal, do different things that are allowing you to let this out. Live in your truth. Exactly. The second way is to get clear with yourself on how your daddy issues have actually manifested in your behavior, in your relationship with others. How do they show up for you? And it's different for other people. I went over earlier the way that mine show up for me. Yours may be different, or they may be similar. The third way is to take inventory of your current relationship dynamics and evaluate if they're mirroring the dynamics that you have identified of the ways that they're showing up. Because if they are, you need to cut those. They got to go. Okay? Get some courage, get some strength, get some love for yourself, and remove yourself from situations that are going to be abusive to you. All right? The fourth way is being bold and brave enough to admit when things are not making you happy. Okay? Again, there's a big difference between feeling good and being comfortable. Okay? A lot of us are very comfortable, but it's not like, we actually feel great about, the situation we're in. We're just comfortable. Oh, we have children. Oh, our money is tied up together. All these bogus bullshit excuses for not not standing up for ourselves and not depending and not being able to depend on ourselves to make the right decisions for ourselves, because we all have an inner child within us that is depending on our adult selves to make the right decision for us. And when we're making decisions out of comfort versus what truly makes us happy, we are letting down our inner child. All right. And then the fifth way is to really invest in your self-care practice. And that could be anything. Of course, I'm going to plug spiritual coaching and steaming. But there's tons of different ways to do that. There's fitness, there's eating properly, there's meditating, there's listening to inspirational audiobooks and music. There's going to the park, there's getting in nature, there's grounding, there's playing with children, there's playing with animals, there's volunteering. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can invest in your self-care practice. Doesn't always have to be money, okay? It costs you nothing to go outside and stand barefoot in the grass. All right? So, again, I hope this was helpful for everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know, because I'm going to jump off. I'm going to be the best example of my best advice and take my ass to bed, because I got to get up early in the morning. Like, I have committed that early mornings, I'm not wavering from that anymore. The way that I feel and the energy and the alignment and the flow and the accomplishment that I feel when I wake up early in the morning is unmatched. And I'm not willing to compromise on that anymore. Yes, God, you're so welcome. Again, tomorrow's Father's Day. And you know, if you're interested in anything from the store, go ahead and use the code masculine for free shipping. And if you want to look into any of the fertility products or in the fertility collection, up until tomorrow, the promo code fertile is ending for 25% off. Okay. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. And yes, God, I will see you all soon. Okay. Bye.